So go to ECS. First we have to create a cluster. So there is already a cluster. So this is a private repository. Okay. So today we'll deal with React app. So I have created a React app. So I'll share you the link also. So this is a React app. So it is having a Docker file in it. So you can fork or you can clone the repository. So first we'll deploy this React app to ECS cluster by using Fargate. So instead of EC2, we'll do serverless deployment. So we'll take ECS Fargate. So for that first we'll go to ECS. Create a cluster. So cluster names you can give any name. So let's stick on to one name. So let's use hello world. And infrastructure will use AWS Fargate. So you can leave this monitoring, encryption and tags default and click on create. So in order to make it like reduce the error, so we'll use all small letters only. And click on create cluster. So by the time cluster is getting created, we'll go to task definitions and we'll create a task definition. Okay, by the time cluster is creating, we'll go to task definitions, create a task definition. So even task definition name is also like hello world. And launch type is Fargate. And the task role, we don't have any roles. If you go to the roles, IAM, I have only 4 default roles. So ECS role has been just created. So other roles and all like all default roles. So you need not to create any manual rules. So let the cluster and the task definition, let it create by itself. So go to task definition, and in the role you can leave it empty, and the task execution role, click on create new role. So as you don't have any role, you can use create new role, and it is asking for the container details. So even in my ECR also I don't have any repositories, and no images are there. So let's push a image. So even the container name would be hello world, and as we don't have any ECR, see even in my public repository also, and even in my private also, I don't have any repository. So let's create a repository here. So let's name this as a hello world and create a repository, and we can push a image into this. So let's go to the terminal. So let me create a folder called Docker. So inside this Docker, so let me create a index.html file, and just hello world, and let's create a Docker file for this. vi docker file. Okay, there is a typo error. So from nginx latest run /usr/ So create a Docker file and a Docker build -t. and Docker images. So we have a hello world latest. So let's test the application so that to reduce the failure chances. Docker run -d -p. So let me use port 8 itself. So because before that, let me check any containers are there. So let me remove the containers. So let's check in the local server. So local host okay, so my application container is working. So let's push this to Docker Hub or ECR. So let's use ECR only. So for sake of pushing it to ECR, so let's use the commands here. First I need to log in. Okay, login is successful. And next we have already built an image. So we have already built an image which is hello world, and let's create a tag and let's push the tag. Guys, please watch it carefully because it will be so confusing. So try to please note down step by step. So what I have done, I have created an image, converted into container, tested the image and pushed the container to ECR. So this process you already know, right? You have done it previously. So first stage is like pushing the image to Docker Hub. After pushing the image to either Docker Hub or ECR, now create a ECS cluster. After creating an ECS cluster, next is creating a task definition. After task definition, deploy it to ECS with the help of service. So this step you have done. You have done it already, like Fargate deployed to ECS, ECR and all, you know already. I am repeating the same process. So go to the repository and you'll be seeing a container there. So not a container, image you can see. So you can see an image here. So let's copy this image URI or else to even minimize the failure chances, what we'll do like so let's use this version just in case if it failures. Okay, so it is there. Guys, don't get confused. So like I'm deleting all the images first to make my local Docker looks clean. So I'm deleting all the Docker images. So even in my ECR also, so let me clean up. Okay, I have this image. So let's create a tag for this and push the image. Okay. So I have an image here. So let's open this image, copy the image URI and go to task definitions and you can update it here. So task definition is hello world. Launch type is AWS Fargate. So role, let it create by itself. So this is hello world and this is the image URI. So essential container, yes, this is my essential container and container port is 80 and port name, like you can put any name. I just give 80 and let's allocate the CPU usage and memory, let us use 0.5 and let everything be default. click on task definition, create task definition. So task definition has been created with the version 1. Now we can deploy this task definition to ECS in the form of service. So I have an hello world here, and if you scroll down, so create a service. So click on create. So task definition, so hello world. So this is revision 1, so which is the latest one which I have, and the service name is hello world service. Okay, if you want you can remove this. And next, launch type is forget, and health check, so we'll just give some 300 seconds, which means 5 minutes. And if you scroll down, so let's select the VPC. Let's check. So VPC is default, and it is having 3 subnets and with existing security group. And don't forget to turn on the public IP. Next, even we'll add some load balancing also, so that it will redirect our IP address to DNS. So this is application load balancer. So container is hello world. So we don't have any container, we don't have any load balancer. So let's create a new load balancer. So even the load balancer name also you can give it as hello world. Hello world. And listener is port 80. And create new target group. So target group is also like hello world. So that's it guys, click on create. So it will try to create a service and it will deploy an application. So it takes some couple of minutes to deploy this. So meanwhile what we'll do, we'll focus on code deploy, code build and code pipeline. So by the time we finish up that configurations, this application will be ready. So it takes some time, so let's leave it like that. So let it deploy. Now go back to code build first. So let's go to code build first. In the code build, first we will verify whether our application can be able to run in our local system or not. So the application, so the repository is my React app. So this I will share after the session. So here I created all build spec files, Docker file, and this is the application. So here we are going to use a new file called as build spec. So in this build spec, what I am doing is I am giving code deploy complete authority over ECS. I am giving my code build service to take over complete rights on ECR and ECS. So if you observe here guys, what it is telling, see it is logging into ECR, and this is the command. So you need not to write this. This documentation will be already be created by AWS itself. So you can, I will give you the document link also. You can just copy paste. You need not to write anything here. So this is the default values which AWS itself has created. So you can directly copy paste in your repository. So here, what are the things you need to change is your account ID you have to change, your image name you have to change, your login command you have to change. That's it. So let's break down this. If you see here, first thing is it is logging into ECR. Next, what it is doing, Docker build means whatever the Docker file is there in your repository, it is making use of the repository and try to build a Docker image. After Docker image is successful, it will push the image to ECR. It will push the image to ECR. So don't get confused, only 3 stages. First it will create an image, next it will convert the image into, it will convert the Docker file into image and store the image in ECR. That's it. So this is the file which we are going to use now. So for this, copy your, so no need to copy, it will ask directly. So go to code build. In the code build, this is the user interface. So click on create project. First we will test whether this build spec file allows the code build to communicate with ECR and ECS. It is just a test, guys. It is not complete deployment. So the project name can be test. Project type is default project. And in the source, select the source as GitHub, because your code is there in the GitHub. So if your code is not in GitHub, there are other sources also. You can store your code in S3 also. So as my code in GitHub, so I'm using GitHub. And the repository. So it will list down all the repositories here. So what is the name of the repository? So it is my React app. So select, drop down and select your repository. And next, which branch it is there? Provide the branch name. So it is in main branch. So sometimes it will be in master, but make sure in which branch it is there. So provide the branch name. And next you can disable these webhooks. And coming to environments, on demand, managed image, EC2 and container. So keep it default and change the operating system to Amazon Linux to Ubuntu, because we always use Ubuntu from the starting. So you can select Ubuntu, and runtime is standard and image is latest version, which is 5, 6, 7. So you can select the recommended version, which is 7. And as we don't have any role, so let this code will create a IAM role by itself. So if you have role, like you can select existing service role. So I don't have any role, so I'm giving new service role. So it will create a IAM role. And next, here if you scroll down, so there will be an option called privileged. So enable this. If any existing builds are there, no, it will try to pass and it will try to run this because it is privileged. And nothing much, don't change anything here, let it be default. And coming here, see, two options, insert build commands and use a build spec file. So we'll make use of insert build commands and switch to editor. So existing syntax you just remove, go to the GitHub. So copy the build spec syntax. So you can just copy, paste. So guys, carefully observe what are the values I'm changing here. So first thing, either you can use for this purpose, guys, either you can use private repository or public repository. So we have been using public repository. Now we'll switch to private repository because we haven't touched it, right? Private repository. So let's go to private repository. So this is my public repository. So let's go to private repository. We'll create a repository here. So repository name, let's use Tuesday, and that's it. And let's use AWS KMS encryption. In the KMS encryption, let AWS itself will create a key. And image scanning, so what it will do? it will scan. So AWS will scan your Docker image also. So as of now it's not required. You can disable this and create a repository. Guys, I am maintaining private repository for this. So once private repository has been created, so copy the repository URI. Copy, and can you see repository URI here? So you can remove the value and paste the repository URI. And environment, let it be prod. Sometimes this will change to dev also, depends on what you are doing. And the project name. So what project name we are using? So provide a project name. So project name will give Tuesday. Let's keep it simple. So, and even application also, let's use Tuesday. So guys, while you are practicing now, use a common name for everything so that you don't get confused if any existing services are also there. So use a common name for everything, for image, repository, application, for everything use a common name. So application is Tuesday, and next we need to change this login command also. So you can just remove this line completely and go to ECR, and you can select the repository, view push commands, and you can see a login command here. So first command, copy, paste. So what else I have changed? I have changed the repository URI and I have changed the login command, and meanwhile the container name you have to change. So even the container name also I'll just give it as Tuesday. I'll just give the name as Tuesday. That's it. Scroll down, and artifact, you can ignore the artifact. Scroll down and click on create build. So you can see the status here. So project has been created. Now let's start building. So click on start build and make sure the build spec file which we created is running successfully. So let's wait for all the phases to be completed. Once this is completed, we'll proceed to actual pipeline. See, we got an error here. See, failed to get access token, access denied the connection. So why it is denied? The reason is, if you go to build details, see, this is the role which is created by default. So if you open this, if you open the role, so this role, what it will tell you now, your code build has to talk to ECR, but does it have any ECR access here? It does not have any ECR access. So click on add permissions, attach policies. So to broaden the success rate, we'll add directly admin access. So actually we have to add this container registry full access, but instead of adding this, I'm directly adding a admin access. I'm directly adding a admin access. Click on add permissions. So now you will be having two permissions which are added. So admin access is attached. Now let's retry this build. And if you wanted to know the more details why I got error, you can go to build logs and you can see here. See, the connection is access is denied. So meanwhile, let's retry the build. As I now attached some policies, so this has to succeed now. You can go to build logs to check the status. See, now it is logging into Amazon ECR. See, login is successful. Now it is trying to build an image. So it is succeeded. So that means image has been pushed to the ECR. And see the status, it is succeeded. So if you go to the container registry, which is your private repository, and if you open, you have to see the image. So image has been pushed to private repository. Now by this time the cluster also should be ready. Okay, so this is successfully deployed into my ECS and you can see a green deployment. So now let's test this. Open the service, go to tasks, open the task. In the networking, I have a public IP address. Click on open address. See, you have a application deployed. Now my goal is not to expose this public IP address to the external world. So what should I do? I have to attach this to a load balancer. So we have already created load balancer. That means we have asked ECS itself to create a load balancer. So let's go to EC2 and check. So if you scroll down here, so there are load balancers. See, Hello World load balancer has been created and a target group also been created and it is attached to Hello World load balancer. So open this load balancer and you have to ping this public DNS, copy and paste. Okay, so even my load balancer is also working. So first stage is successful, second stage is successful. So now I don't need this anymore. So roles is also not required for me now. So what I require is my ECS. So I require my ECS and I require this ECR and I require this code pipeline. So build is successful, so now I need not to worry about deployment. Straight away go to pipelines. Click on pipelines. So there are no pipelines, so create pipeline. So here, watch this carefully. So you have four options: deployment, continuous integration, automation, and build custom pipeline. So what is our main goal? To create a CI/CD from code build, code deploy, and code pipeline. So we don't have any option called ECS here, right? So this is ACR push to Fargate, deploy to CloudFormation. We have this, but we don't select this. We'll select this custom pipeline and click on next. So give the pipeline name also a common name. So I'll use the name of the application or pipeline is Tuesday, and we don't have role for this, so let it create a role. So code pipeline will create a role by itself. And if you go to advanced settings, don't change anything, let it be default. Click on next. So source, you can use GitHub, and connection repository name. So repository is my React app is my repository. So branch is main. So you can disable these webhooks and build providers. So where I wanted to build, it's in code build. So select code build. So we have already created a project, right? So for this case, we don't let not use the tested pipeline. So let's use our new. So or else we can directly click here, create project. So I don't want this test. So let's create a project called as Tuesday, and project type is default. And environments default operating system is Ubuntu. So we already have a role, so let's select role. So insert build commands. We have this, I think repository is not here. So let's go to GitHub. So select my React app, build specs. So copy this, paste it here. So repository URI, so I have my ECR repository here. So repository URI, and the project name is Tuesday. This is also Tuesday, and login command we have to change. View push commands. Login command changed. And the container name is also Tuesday. Let's continue to code pipeline. So application has been updated, but we will delete the old application. So build project. So we'll delete the old application. This we have done only to test. So the test is passed. Once the test is passed, we can delete the old build, and let's use the new build here, Tuesday, and click on next. So we don't need to test, you can skip the stage, and deployer is your ECS. So I need to deploy it to ECS, right? So select ECS. So in the ECS, I already have a cluster called Hello World, and service name is Hello World. And coming to image definitions file, so you can see the image definitions here. So where I'm storing the artifacts and all, no? So this is the place where I'm storing. So you can just copy this and you can update it here. You can update it here. And timeout, like you can keep it ignored. So click on next. Review everything, and meanwhile go to registry, and here, okay, looks good, and click on create pipeline. So pipeline has been started. So let's wait until all these stages get successful. So first stage is successful, that means it has cloned your Git repository to its local repository. And in the build stage, if you want, you can check the status here. So click on this AWS code build, and you can see these phase details. So these are all, it is happening. So login is successful. Now it is building a Docker image, and this image will be pushed to your private ECR. So this stage is successful. Let's follow it in pipeline. See, the deployment stage is failure. So why it is failure? So let's go and check. So maybe problem with the role. So the deployment stage doesn't happen. So we'll see what is the issue here. Okay, ECS container, okay, does not exist. So